Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Remote Control Sports. Before we get into today's show, we want to please ask that you like and subscribe. It's right down there. It takes 2 seconds, and it helps us out so much. So please remember to like and subscribe. On today's show, we've got NFL draft prospect Devonte Williams joining us for an interview. We're also going to recap Tiger King, and we'll see who we thought was going to win the NBA title this year. Today, we've got Richie Solaris,
Howdy.
Dylan Domang,
What's up?
and the big germ himself, Jermaine Kelly.
How's it going?
All right, let's roll the intro. Leonard Fournette came out earlier this week and said he would love if the Jaguars signed Cam Newton. He basically said they should sign Cam Newton. Richie, I'll start with you. Is this more of a slight to Gardner Minshew or a vote of confidence for Cam Newton?
I don't think it's anything against Gardner. I think Leonard Fournette very much wants to get back to that AFC Conference Championship. He wants to, touch victory, and Cam Newton gives them the best opportunity to do that right now. I don't think that's the right decision, though. And it's not because I believe that Gardner Minshew is the guy. I think you let Gardner have an entire season, and I will never advocate for tanking. But if the team does not do well, you take that pick, you take any other picks that you've got, you trade up and you take Trevor Lawrence. I think that's going to be the smarter move.
There's no way whoever has the number one pick is trading that for Trevor Lawrence. He's like Zion. You're not going to get him.
You don't know that. They could get an absolute – if you think the Bengals could get a ton of draft capital for Joe Burrow, just wait until Trevor Lawrence. Teams –
Joe Burrow is half the prospect Trevor Lawrence is.
I agree, which is my point. If you think teams would give up a king's ransom for Joe Burrow, when Trevor Lawrence comes out, teams are going to be wanting to give up anything. I think you're going to see a lot of trades starting in the second and third round, specifically trading for picks next year. I think teams are going to try and get 2 or 3 first-round draft picks so they can try and trade them in hopes to get that number 1 overall pick. I guarantee teams are already thinking about how they can trade up to get Trevor Lawrence next year.
Okay, but really quick, because before we get back into the conversation, I want to know, so you are saying if the Jaguars struggle and they have a chance to get Trevor Lawrence, you're just going to go away from Gardner Minshew. Obviously, yes, he's better than Gardner Minshew, but I think that in itself is crazy.
I don't think so, because even if Gardner has success, he's not Trevor Lawrence. Let's say they go 6-9, or 6-10, or 7-9. All right, Gardner plays well. He looks like he's going to be starting quarterback. Team still doesn't do well. You trade 2 first-round picks, and you can even package up Gardner Minshew and get Trevor Lawrence. Even if Gardner is going to be a starting quarterback, he may be good, but he does not have the potential that Trevor Lawrence does. You want Gardner to have success. If you pick up Cam Newton now, you're committing at least 2 to 3 years to him. You're not going to get the first overall pick, and even if you somehow traded up for it, you're really going to take Trevor Lawrence and then trade Cam Newton, who you're going to give a lot of money to? That's not going to happen. Keeping Gardner Minshew as a starter is the right play for the Jaguars this year.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree completely.
You disagree?
Really?
Yeah, now we're talking about Leonard Fournette advocating for Cam Newton. Leonard Fournette might not even be on the team. Okay, the Jaguars thinking about trading him and finding trade options. No, I think the Jaguars are struggling with Gardner Minshew. Say 2-5, 2-6, 3-7 to start the year or whatever. I think mid-season, because Cam Newton is probably still going to be in the market by then. I still think they go get Cam Newton in the middle of the season to go finish out for the rest of the year and just see if it's going to work out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, they might sign him to a 2-year deal, but if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I don't think
you think they're just going to bring in some guy off the street to run a team? Yeah, this isn't Madden.
Cam Newton is not going to be in the market mid-season.
He might.
There are still teams that need quarterbacks, even as backups. Now, look, Jameis is still on the market, sure, but you look at a team like the Patriots, the Chargers, and, you could put the Jaguars in there, sure. I don't think Cam Newton is going to last till midseason.
This is almost a conversation, though, we need to have after the draft and see what teams draft quarterbacks that we think is going to be there for their future. and see which teams still need quarterbacks.
Well, I want to know, Jermaine, because let you jump in on this. Is Leonard Fournette out of line saying this? I think that is the issue a lot of people are taking with it.
I don't think he's out of line saying it. He wants to win. He wants to get back to that AFC Championship, and he's looking like at the market. And maybe there's part of him that actually thinks Gardner Minshew isn't the guy that can get them back to where they were in 2017. And Cam Newton is a guy who's been to the NFC Championship. He's been to the Super Bowl. He hasn't won it, but he's been there. He's experienced it, and Leonard Fournette feels that Cam Newton gives them the best opportunity to get back to the AFC Championship and possibly a Super Bowl.
I like that you said the Super Bowl because I was about to make fun of you too for just driving home that point. He wants to get back to the AFC Championship, and
Yeah, obviously.
that is the goal for Leonard Fournette. This is what he's dreamed of, is that AFC title atmosphere. All right, moving on. The NBA playoffs were supposed to start this week. We are going to discuss who we think was going to represent both conferences, who was going to win. Jermaine, I'll start with you.
You want? Okay, I'm gonna do who's gonna be in the Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals. I'm gonna do finals. So in the Western Conference Finals, I think it would have been the Lakers and the Jazz.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Boo!
No, that's bad. That was bad.
Boo this man.
That is bad.
Obviously,
That is criminal. That is criminal, Jermaine.
Look. I don't care about the Lakers. We know why the Lakers.
wait. Give me
the reason for the Jazz.
I don't mean Jazz. I meant Nuggets. I'm so sorry. I was thinking.
You cannot mess up like that.
No,
I cannot mess up that bad.
No, because I'm thinking Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. That's who I'm thinking of.
I think Nuggets.
Oh, those two Jazz legends.
Yeah. But yeah. Then in the Eastern Conference, I have the Bucks and the Sixers, and I have the Bucks going. And
you have the Sixers? They can't win on the road.
Yes, I have the Sixers.
Shut up, Dylan.
I got the Lakers, of course. I'm gonna do the same with Jermaine. I got the Lakers. I would go the Clippers. I don't know if that's how it would wind up being in the bracket, but I have Lakers and Clippers.
Yep.
I have that series going to 7.
Yep.
I think it goes to 7. I think the Lakers pull it out, but I think the Clippers really give them a run for the money just because of defense. I think they are such a good defensive team. I don't even care about the Eastern Conference. It's the Bucks. They can match any team up there, and it'll be the Bucks. I think this was the Bucks year. I think this was the Bucks year to win it all.
It's incredible because you've been frozen this whole time. We're going to get to who you think was going to win the finals. We're all going to do that at the same time. Richie, who did you have in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals? If you had that.
To be honest, I really don't, because to me, it's the Bucks and the Lakers. It's boring because it's the 2 number 1 seeds, but it was quite clear while the season was going on, those were the 2 best teams in the NBA. I mean, AD and LeBron is one of the most dangerous tandems I've seen in years. But the Bucks were just having such a good year. It just seemed like everything was going right. I think it was so special. I think it would have been a great NBA Finals, and I think it would have went down to game number 7. But I think the Bucks would have taken it. I just have faith that this was their year.
All right, I had the Clippers and the Lakers, and I had the Bucks and the Raptors. I don't think the Bucks make it to the finals. I don't know. I think the Raptors beat them. All right, let's go through who we thought was going to win the NBA title. Jermaine, I'll start with you. Is it the 76ers who can't win on the road?
No, I had the Bucks being in the finals. I had them being in the Eastern. I had the Sixers being in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I know, but I didn't know if you had the Sixers going on the road.
No, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Eric Bledsoe, that's unstoppable. I'm going to go Lakers in 6 games instead of 7. I think the Lakers would have had a lot of momentum going into the finals. So, and LeBron and AD, and I think they're not really underrated, but I really like who they have down low, and like JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis. It's just all game they can dominate down there. So I got the Lakers in 6.
I think the Lakers will exhaust all their energy playing in the Western half of the playoffs. Going up against teams like if you play the Rockets, you play the Nuggets or the Clippers, any team like that. I think they get worn out, and I think the Bucks have an easy slate to get to the finals. So I think it's the Bucks. I think because once you get to the finals, the Bucks just have more energy at that time.
Richie, you had the Bucks?
Yep.
All right, I have the Raptors. I think the Raptors beat the Lakers in 6.
Repeat.
Yeah, repeat.
Wow.
I don't know. I look, they don't lose, man.
Nick Nurse.
I think they are pound for pound the best franchise in the NBA right now. They're like the Patriots. I'm not saying it's the same dynasty, but until they lose, until somebody shows they can beat them, then I'm taking the Raptors because Nick Nurse and that whole supporting cast that he's got, they find a way. People thought they were going to be like a 6 seed this year, and they're the second best team in the East. That's what I got. All right. Our final discussion before we get into our interview with NFL draft prospect Devonte Williams. Remember to follow us on social media at Remote C Sports on Twitter, Remote Control Sports on Instagram, and we're on Facebook as well if anybody's on Facebook. All right, Taysom Hill and Kareem Hunt, they're both staying put. Who is the more valuable player, Dylan?
I think Taysom Hill is. And I think Kareem Hunt's a great running back, but I think if he's staying put, obviously Nick Chubb is a starter over there, and he's going to remain the starter in Cleveland. So I think Kareem Hunt was just that backup for them. And I think Nick Chubb needs to be the workhorse. They're not two different types of running backs. They're the same type of running back. It's not like an Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram type situation. Nick Chubb is the focus point. I think Taysom Hill is going to continue to have the bigger role for the Saints. I don't see him as a franchise quarterback. I see him as continuing to be the player that he's been for them on kickoff returns, blocking, receiving, running, doing that wildcat quarterback, like just being the player that he is now. I just think that the style of play that he has as a quarterback will hurt him if he is the starting quarterback after Drew Brees, to hurt him for the rest of his career. Because look in BYU, he had all those career-ending injuries. And I know you can't base it off of that, but I mean, I just think the way he plays, he's so physical. I think he's just going to get hurt if he keeps playing like that, and he's expected to be the franchise quarterback.
Maybe the mission trip is the key. Maybe that's what injury-prone college players need to do, is they need to take 2 years off and go on a mission trip, and then you won't get hurt. All the injuries just leave your body. Jermaine, do you think Taysom Hill will ever start a week 1 game at quarterback? It's easy to say he'll start at quarterback because there's injuries and things like that. Do you think he'll ever go into a week 1 of a regular season as a starting quarterback?
I mean, I think there's a pretty good chance. I think this Thursday coming up, the Saints are obviously going to try to draft a quarterback, even if it's with their 24th pick or like in the 3rd or later rounds. And they're going to, in training camp, if we have a training camp, compete for a job. And I feel like he'll probably win it, but I feel like he's more valuable, like Dylan said, as a tight end, as a running back, as all these other positions. He really spreads out the field, and he's just way more valuable, in other places on the field besides quarterback.
Yes, but this is what I hate about this, is he is somehow marketed himself into a quarterback. He's not a quarterback. He needs to stop.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. He is the role that he is now, where he can be that wildcat and maybe throw a few times.
Yeah.
But that's it. You're not expecting him to go be Drew Brees.
I want an over-under career passes for Taysom Hill for the rest of his career. How many passes will he throw the remainder of his career?
He's 30 now. I'd say under 35.
35, okay.
I go 60. But not as
that would mean he would have to play decent time at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's not playing 8 more years.
No, of course not. But I see it though. I see it as a test. I see it as a test and it not working. I see it as a test and it failing completely. You can't have that the whole season.
Somehow he has gone from being a quiet kid who was so much fun in college, and you really just root for him because he's doing everything. He's doing things that professional athletes just don't do, and that's everything. And he has somehow, to me, become insufferably annoying. I wish he would go away.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Sean Payton is going to give Taysom Hill the Just listen. Listen to me.
I will.
You know what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Sean Payton, when Drew Brees retires, will give Taysom Hill an opportunity to win the starting job, which Taysom Hill will not win.
Okay, but will it be a real opportunity? Because we always hear, oh, we have an open competition. No, you don't.
No,
Do you think?
I obviously it depends on who the Saints bring in after Drew Brees. If they draft a quarterback in the first round, then no, it's not going to be a real competition. But if the Saints don't have a real, quarterback of the future, if they're just bringing someone in off the market just to try and have a couple good years before they can draft a quarterback, I think he will be given a true opportunity to win the job, which I do not think he wins. Either way, he won't be the starting quarterback, but Sean Payton is going to give Taysom a real opportunity to win that job.
My whole argument with this is you play 4 seasons of college football. You don't get drafted. You get cut by a team. A team brings you in, and what it took for people to take you seriously as a quarterback is returning kickoffs. The logic behind this makes no sense to me. I am so tired of hearing this stuff about. I'm so tired of Taysom Hill. I am so tired of Taysom Hill, the quarterback. As a football player, fine. Like, do what you want. I'm so tired of people trying to pretend that he's a quarterback and trying to tell me that he's a quarterback. No, he's not. He's not. All right? He throws 8 passes the rest of his career.
8? He threw 7 last year alone.
I go over under 10. I think and I know he threw 7 last year alone. Teams are going to be prepared for it this year. I think he throws 4 passes this year. And then I don't think he throws another pass. I think he's done. I don't think another team gives him, because you're not going to go to another team and be this guy. You're coming in as a quarterback and you're not winning the job. Anyway, gosh, it's got me fed up. All right. We have a very special guest today. It's NFL draft prospect Devonte Williams. We cannot thank Devonte enough for his time. Here's the interview with Devonte. I'm joined by NFL draft prospect Devonte Williams. Devonte, thanks for being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. So I want to start kind of at the beginning of all this, your recruitment process. You began your career at Indiana. Indiana was the only Power 5 school to offer you. How did that all come about, and what ultimately led to you winding up going to Indiana?
Well, actually, I got my very, very first offer my sophomore year. It was from Temple University. And then going into my junior year, at the end of the season, I think it was around that time frame, I ended up getting an offer from Indiana University. And then after Indiana kind of, gave me my offer, a couple more schools rolled in. And then I ended up committing to Marshall University. Mm. And after that, I ended up decommitting, and then I committed to Indiana University. And then toward kind of late in the process, Oklahoma State came in. So that was my top 3 schools. I had my official visit was already set up for Indiana University, and which I had already been. I had already visited Indiana once before on an unofficial. So I could have took that opportunity, to go out and venture off and try something new and take an official visit to Oklahoma State, because I've already taken 2. I took one to Marshall and I took one to Indiana. So, but I kind of just wanted to stick to my guns. I built a strong relationship with Dylan McCullough. That was my position coach there at Indiana. Once I built that, strong bond with him, he had a strong background. He has multiple running backs that, are playing at the highest level right now. He has Tevin Coleman, Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard was actually there my true freshman year. So once I got up to Indiana University, Jordan Howard, he was the starting running back at the time. So Kevin Wilson kind of brought me into his office, and he was like, have you ever played any other position? And I was like, no, not really. I've only, I really stuck to the offensive side. And he was like, well, I want you to try to play DB. So I was like, all right, it's kind of unfamiliar territory, but I ended up trying it out, and I ended up starting my true freshman year. I started the first 3 games of the season at corner, a position I never played before. And I ended up getting hurt the 3rd game returning the kick. And then after that time frame, Kevin Wilson, he ended up, redshirting me. I got a medical red shirt that year. And I came back the following year. Jordan Howard had left, so I went right back to offense and went right back into running back.
When you got to Southeastern, your 2018 year, it's like you were just getting your feet wet. You had 4 rushing touchdowns, but it seemed like you had a monster in 2018 as you doubled in your touchdowns. What did you do to prepare and have that monster season in 2018 and 19?
I feel like that kind of was a transition year, coming from, one school to another, getting acclimated to the system and everything. Everybody was new to the system because, it was Coach Stevens, his first year there as well. So I feel like it was just kind of it was kind of an acclimation year, where everybody was just getting used to the system and trying to fill the playbook out and everything like that. So I feel like, once we kind of got all that down, and we kind of gelled as a team. I think that was, the number one thing. My junior year, I feel like, a lot of guys, everybody was kind of just, very, very self-centered. Nobody was really, worried about the team. And, I feel like, I got there that summer. So I didn't even get to do spring ball with them my junior year. I kind of got there, late in the process. So once I got there, that summer, I had missed spring ball, so I kind of just, I was late getting into the playbook. I had like no, relationships with anybody on the team, So it was kind of like a tough, situation that I kind of got thrown into. So,
Devonte, you've played a lot of games in your college career, had a lot of big moments. What would your top 3 moments be though in your career?
The first moment would definitely be being able to make the freshman All Big Ten team. A second would be the Villanova game, the crazy comeback that we had, first round of the playoffs, first time Southeastern was able to surpass the first round of the playoffs. And last but not least, senior night. It was a very, very special night. I scored a rushing touchdown, I scored a punt return, and a receiving touchdown as well. And actually, the punt return that I had, it made SportsCenter top 10. It was the number 2 play on SportsCenter. So I think I might have been one of the first players to do that in Southeastern history. So that was pretty dope.
Now, Devonte, I have a question for you. So you played in the Big 12 at Indiana. You played against guys like Saquon, Barkley, and Joey Bosa. So my question is, what do you think is the easier task, to tackle Saquon or to break a tackle from Joey Bosa?
Well, I've actually had to, try to do both. That's funny you say that because the opening kickoff, I actually was on the kickoff team down in Indiana, and the opening kickoffs, this man Saquon Barkley ended up, busting. He returned the opening kickoff of the game. So I was on the opposite end of the field, and I kind of had to try to run him down, So, and I got to him last moment, but once I tried to dive at him, he ended up like, he just like jumped. So. I kind of missed the tackle, so that was a tough situation for me to be in, But also, Bosa, I've had a block Bosa as well, so I don't know. It's kind of neck and
neck. Most FBS to FCS transfers, it's either a case of losing a job or they get into some kind of trouble at an FBS school. They have to go to FCS. You got playing time and you didn't get into any trouble at Indiana. So what ultimately led to you leaving Indiana and moving to the FCS at Southeastern?
Well, that's once the coaching staff kind of changed, that's where kind of everything just went downhill. Like I said, the relationship that I built with Dylan McCullough, was a very strong one, and he ended up leaving to go to USC. He was at USC for 1 year, and he's now at the Kansas City Chiefs. So once he kind of left, I feel like, especially after that, my redshirt freshman year where I was on the, all freshman Big Ten team, I felt like I, should have a larger part in the offense, which kind of didn't happen just because, when the new coaching staff came in and the new running back, Hart, he ended up coming in, he kind of laid out a platform, this is the type of running back that I like. Which is, probably like the traditional 6 foot plus, 200 type of back. Obviously, I'm not that, so, it just kind of was a me not fitting their type of scheme, their new evolved scheme that they wanted at the time. So I had to find something new.
And I'm curious with all this going on, with the coronavirus stuff and all that, you're one of the players that obviously didn't get a pro day. What does all your training look like? And are you hearing anything from NFL teams, possibly CFL teams? What is your outlook on all this right now?
Well, it's kind of, my agent is kind of handling a lot of that stuff right now. But this entire process has been, a phenomenal process. I've just been, embracing it and grinding day in and day out. I know everything does happen for a reason. So, wherever God wants me to be is where I will be. It doesn't matter, obviously, number one, I want to be in the NFL, but, wherever God puts me, I'll be, satisfied.
I am curious. The draft is Thursday. Growing up, was there any one or two teams that, you as a kid was saying, man, I would do anything to play for them? Was there a specific team you really wanted to play for?
Not necessarily. Honestly, I'm open to anything, any team. But I have always been a Carolina Panthers fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, Devonte, this is kind of just going on a tangent. It's not really even about football. But before we got on this interview, I was actually watching Transformers. And I had seen an interview with you that said you connect or you kind of relate yourself to Bumblebee a little bit. Can you explain that?
Okay, so it's actually the Matrix.
Okay.
Yeah, the Matrix. So I actually kind of was given that nickname, when I was younger, just from the fact that I'm able to make people miss and stuff like that. So my dad kind of gave me that connection to the Matrix, and it was actually my dad's friend, and he was like, your nickname should be the Matrix, and it kind of just stuck around. And then in high school, that nickname kind of really, really blew up, where a lot of the fans and the student section and stuff like that, they kind of publicized that nickname for me, so which was kind of dope, and I kind of just took it and rolled with it. But it's the Matrix.
Devonte, Southeastern just got one of your former teammates at Indiana, Morgan Ellison. I don't know if you had a relationship with Morgan, but Southeastern kind of developing this connection with former Indiana running backs now. And he's kind of coming to almost replace you, hopefully, in the offense. What can you tell Southeastern fans about Morgan Ellison?
He's definitely a hard worker. He kind of keeps his head down and just grinds, so I you guys could just look forward to, a lot of positivity coming from him.
And finally, Devonte, what do you want the fans out there to know, teams out there to know about what they can expect from Devonte Williams moving forward?
You can expect a hardworking guy, a guy who's going to put his head down and grind every single day, a guy who can, do anything on the field in regards to, returning punts, catching the ball off the backfield, running the ball in between the tackles and outside. A guy who is, going to, be positive in the community as well as on the field. So,
NFL draft prospect Devonte Williams. Devonte, how can everybody follow you on social media?
My Instagram name is Devonte Z Williams, Devonte Z Williams.
There you go. NFL draft prospect Devonte Williams. Devonte, thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you guys.
Special thanks to Devonte Williams. Before we get into our final segment, make sure you're liking and subscribing. It's right down there. It takes 2 seconds. So please do it. All right, let's wrap up today's show. It's time for Remote Control Pop Culture. Today, we're discussing The Tiger King on Netflix. Make sure you're watching it because it's really good. Dylan, we thought that everybody did their homework and watched it. Apparently, we're the only two that watched the whole thing, so it looks like it's going to be a lot of back and forth between us. Let's start with this. Who is your least favorite person from Tiger King?
Ooh, I don't like Carol's husband.
Really? Because I had no problem with him.
See, okay, here's my thing. I think that all of this happens. I think that she's more invested into it because of him. I think he's more invested into it because he's like an outside source coming in, and he's like, look, you have all this money. We can go do this. I don't have any real factor into this because I really don't care about Joe Exotic like you are. Like you're in that battle with him. So I can just come in, do all the federal work, get all that kind of stuff done, and go. But I really don't care for them. I didn't get that. I like their wedding pictures.
Yeah, the wedding pictures
cringe so bad.
Look, okay,
and
but
I think as well.
I think that a lot of people are judging their basis of him off that wedding picture, which is awful. I think even he would admit it's awful.
Yeah,
it's a bad picture. I got the vibe of him just being a supportive husband. If I have some guy who is threatening my wife's life, yeah, I'm gonna sue him because I've got the money.
I just don't think he in terms of all the characters that are in the show, he's really just the outlier and kind of all of this. He's just like the normal guy actually.
Yeah.
And I think in that show it just didn't fit.
That's why he doesn't bother me. I mean, he's just kind of there. He's not the worst one there.
So who's yours?
Now, yeah, who's your Richie?
All right,
You've
so I
seen
hate-
4 episodes. You've seen 4
I
episodes.
hate Carol, but she's not my least favorite person. I think what's his name is it's Doc, right? Doc.
Yeah, the fuck of him.
That dude is a cult leader.
He even admitted it too, because in the interview she was like,
cult leader. Like he's the worst one out of all of that. How is he not being investigated? He's got all of these women working there, working nonstop, 24/7. They don't have a break. They don't take time off. Nothing. They sit there and they do whatever he wants, dude. That dude, I don't know how he does what he does, but he's horrible.
All right, now you obviously have not finished it because you'd get some answers to your questions there if you had finished it, Richie.
Oh,
so
really?
just giving you a tease there. My least favorite guy is Jeff Lowe. I hate Jeff Lowe with everything in me because we're gonna get to this. My favorite person of the whole documentary is Joe Exotic. I found myself just being consumed by his energy. He's just such a charismatic human being, just like a real monster truck driver vibe. And
yeah, he's my favorite. If my hair gets longer, I'm growing a mullet in honor of him.
Well, you would have to grow it longer. It's not if your hair gets longer. You have to get it longer to grow the mullet.
Yeah, and every kid's gonna be Joe Exotic for Halloween this year. That's gonna be the most popular.
Oh my gosh, just
dude,
by a long time.
It's hard not to like him. He seems like I would love to just sit down and have a beer and chat with him. Like that would be like top 5 conversations of all time. I
would have loved to have been in Oklahoma when he ran for governor.
I would have voted for him.
Here's my argument because
I just want to be around all the publicity going on.
There was none. That's what I'm trying to say. Every state has that guy who runs for governor. And he was that guy in Oklahoma. You wouldn't have heard about it. Before we get into our final thoughts on Tiger King, Jermaine, you have not seen it. Let's get your thoughts on Tiger King.
I don't buy into the hype.
How? Because why? Why? Because no. Everybody, there's this little section of social media that's so great and pure, and they're better than the rest of us, and I don't get Tiger. I'm not watching Tiger King. Good for you. You're missing out on the documentary event of the year. Good for you. I'm happy. No, that's great. That's great, Jermaine, that you don't buy into the hype. It's just going to win every award, and you're not going to watch it. That's fine.
I've never, every time a movie, like Bird Box, I've never seen Bird Box. Only thing that I've watched that was hyped on Netflix was the whole Aaron Hernandez thing. Other than that, only use Netflix for The Office and QB1 and Victorious now. That's
it's
about
7 episodes long. It's not hard to watch.
Yeah,
and it's so just entertaining. There's so much going on.
Yeah,
it's beautifully done.
You're gonna watch it and regret not watching it.
Yeah, and not being part of this great dialect that we have as friends.
You know what blows my mind though? I could buy a tiger for $2,000. That's all it cost. That's all it costs.
I just my whole thing is, where are all these tigers coming? Yeah, you're mating them, but it seems like there's just in a weird amount of captive tigers.
I didn't realize that there was that many going on in America, that many private zoos. You don't realize that.
It's
now. I've got 2 more questions. Thoughts on the whole roadside zoo enterprise after watching Tiger King? Are you changed at all? Do you feel badly for anyone?
I'll let you go first. That's a hard one.
To me, it's on an individual basis. I mean, if these roadside zoos are taking care of their animals, they love them.
Yeah, but you could argue that none of them are, is the thing. You could argue that none of them are taking care of them.
Then if I think that there needs to be more regulation on them.
Okay.
I think that there needs to be more checkups from whoever it is, whether it's animal control or wildlife and fisheries or the government. There needs to be more checks in these zoos because the abuse that there is appalling. And the fact that there is more tigers in captivity than in the wild, is so wrong. I mean, these are incredible animals that need to be thriving. The one good thing that's really coming out of this that they talked about is it is a good way to build the population back up. But the problem is a tiger raised in captivity can never, ever acclimate to the wild. It's got to stay in captivity. It would die too easy. So, yeah, they're bringing the population up, but there's not much you can really do with it. So I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I'm on the fence too because I'm more of against the part of that they talked about it in Tiger King. The fact that once these animals become out of like an old enough age to where you can't go play with them, you can't make money off of them, and they're just a number in your pin, then a lot of times they die. You know, they get shot or someone.
They die like they're just dying of no. They get shot.
They get shot. Like they get shot. I would think that like that needs to change. I would rather another private zoo take them in. I would rather that private zoo sell that tiger to another private zoo to keep it alive and have it die of natural causes and not just being put down by getting shot.
All right. Final thoughts. Will you, if you are in the whatever area of Texas or Oklahoma, this place, will you go visit Jeff Lowe's Monster Energy Tiger Zoo?
Yeah, I would.
You would. Richie, you haven't been there. You haven't gotten there yet, so you can't answer. Jermaine, what are your thoughts on, let's see. What are your thoughts on Seth? Got any thoughts on Seth, Jermaine?
Seth.
Seth, yeah. Seth from Tiger King. What are your thoughts on Seth?
I mean, hey, he sounds like a good dude. I mean, like Richie said.
Oh, good dude. It's a woman.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'd want to sit down and have a beer with her. I'm not old enough to drink yet, but we can.
Okay.
Hey.
And do you think that the lemur charge is legit? Do you think that that's like a real charge that he was facing?
No.
Hey, no, yeah, Dylan.
No. For Jermaine.
No. Dylan.
You don't?
Right out of my mouth. No.
You couldn't. Okay, you couldn't think. All right. Now, where do you think the jet ski came from, Jermaine?
The jet ski. What brand makes it? It all
Looked
depends.
like a Yamaha.
Yamaha? Oh, that's quality right there. That's quality.
So you think that money was legit that he purchased it with?
I don't know. Probably a little under the table money.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he's actually right. He's actually right there.
I think you're right. Now, how do you feel about Big Cat Rescue at the end of all this?
Hey, only big cat I care about is Coach Doug's. Go Knowles.
Go Knowles. The Duggernaut.
By tonight, though, he might not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, going to a new place. All right, guys. Again, we want to give one last shout out to Devonte Williams. Can't thank him enough. Derek Truong for making all our graphics. We love you, Derek. Thank you so much. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. Make sure you're following us on social media, on Twitter, Remote C Sports, Instagram, Remote Control Sports, and on Facebook as well. With that, everyone, have a great few days. We will see you on Tuesday.